The thing about Calroth Station Academy was that everyone knew humans were soft, fragile, made of thin skin and hollow bones that would snap if you looked at them wrong. That's what every xenobiology textbook said. That's what every instructor repeated during safety briefings. That's what Vex Nor, a Cromlyan enforcer, standing 7 feet tall, with chitin plating thick enough to stop plasma rounds, believed with absolute certainty. He was about to learn differently. On Chixtao, by the way. 4 arms, compound eyes, exoskeleton, the color of burnt copper. I sat 3 rows behind where everything went sideways that day in advanced gravitational mathematics. Just another Tuesday morning in Professor Thelnack's second period class, or so I thought. The human girl, Maya Torres, had transferred in 2 cycles ago from some backwater planet called Earth. Classification: Death World. I'd looked it up after her first day because, honestly, how bad could it be? The research files made my blood run cold. Predators everywhere. Diseases that could liquefy your organs. Weather patterns that killed thousands at a time. Gravity so intense that most species needed exoskeletons just to visit. And yet here was Maya, barely 5.5 feet tall, built like she'd break in a strong wind, sitting in the front row, taking notes like she wasn't from a literal nightmare planet. Vex Nor had been targeting her since day 1. Small things at first. Knocking her data pad off the desk. Blocking her locker. Today, though? Today, he'd decided to escalate. "Hey, skinbag," he rumbled, his voice like grinding stones. "You're in my seat." Maya didn't even look up. "There's no assigned seating, Vex Nor." "There is now." I saw her hand tighten around her stylus. Just slightly. Just enough. I was here first. Find another seat. The classroom had gone quiet. Even Professor Thelnack, a 6-armed Plenthian with more patience than sense, had stopped mid-equation on the hollow board. We all knew what was coming. Vex Nor didn't back down. Ever. His species was bred for enforcement work on mining colonies where insubordination meant death. "I'm going to count to 3, human." Vex Nor leaned down, his breathing spiracles hissing. 1. Maya kept writing. 2. Her handwriting didn't even waver. Thrar. Vex Nor didn't finish the word. Instead, he did something monumentally stupid. He reached out with one massive hand, fingers thick as coupling pipes, and shoved Maya's shoulder. Hard. The sound of her body hitting the desk was sharp, loud. Her datapad clattered to the floor. For exactly 3.7 seconds, based on my internal chronometer, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. We just stared. She turned around, slowly, carefully, like someone handling unstable explosives. Her face was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that survival instincts screamed warnings about. I'd seen that expression once before, on a nature documentary about Earth predators, right before a creature called a crocodile exploded out of still water. "You just hit me," Maya said quietly. Vex Nor laughed. Actually laughed. "What are you going to do about it, skinbag? Cry? Run to the administration? You're on a station with real species now. Better learn your—" He never finished that sentence either. Maya moved. "I need you to understand something about Death World reflexes. See, most species evolved on planets where predators were rare, where danger was an occasional thing. Humans? They evolved where everything wanted to kill them, where their own planet tried to murder them daily. Their nervous systems are wired differently. Faster, harder, more violent. 10 seconds. That's how long it took. Maya's first move was a step forward, inside Vex Nor's guard. Her hand, small and soft-looking, shot up and grabbed one of his breathing spiracles. Then she twisted, hard. Vex Nor's confident sneer turned into a choking gasp as his primary air intake collapsed under her grip. While he was processing that, trying to understand how something so small could generate so much force, Maya's other hand came up in a tight arc. Her fist, and yeah, I know, it was just soft tissue over bone. It shouldn't have mattered. It connected with the joint where Vexnor's jaw met his skull. The crack echoed through the classroom. Vexnor stumbled backward, both hands going to his face. Blue blood, the Cromleyan kind, started leaking between his fingers. Maya didn't stop. She followed him, grabbed his arm, the one he'd used to shove her, and did something with her hip and shoulder that I still don't fully understand. Physics shouldn't have worked that way. She was maybe a third his mass. But suddenly, Vexnor was airborne. He crashed into 3 desks, students scattering like startled prey animals. The floor, rated for industrial use and built to handle loader mechs, actually cracked when he hit it. His chitin plating, supposedly able to withstand close-range projectiles, had spider-webbed fractures running across the chest piece. Maya stood there, breathing hard but steady, her hands still raised. "Don't touch me again." Vexnor tried to get up, got to one knee, his face, or what was left of it, a ruin of purple bruising and blue blood. His jaw was hanging at an angle that made my stomach turn. Then he looked at Maya, really looked at her, and I saw something I'd never seen in a Cromleyan before. Fear. He collapsed back down. The classroom was silent, except for Vexnor's labored breathing and the faint hum of the station's life support systems. Professor Thelnak, all 6 arms frozen in mid-gesture, stared at the scene like his entire understanding of reality had just been drop-kicked into a black hole. "Someone," he finally managed, "call medical." I was closest to the emergency comm panel. My hands shook as I activated it. "Medical emergency. Room 347B. Student down. Bring a trauma team." Maya calmly walked back to her desk, picked up her data pad, checked it for damage, and sat back down. She pulled up her notes and started writing again, like she hadn't just dismantled a 7-foot-tall enforcer in less time than it took to recite the station safety regulations. Reluk, a Zenthari sitting next to me, all tentacles and bioluminescent skin patterns, leaned over. "Did you see that?" "Everyone saw that," I whispered back. "No, I mean, did you see that?" She grabbed his spiracle like she KNEW. It was a weak point. She hit the jaw joint precisely. "That throw? That was technique. Training." I looked at Maya again. She caught me staring and gave a small shrug. Just a shrug. Like she'd tied her shoes instead of rewriting every assumption about human fragility we'd ever had. The medical team arrived 6 minutes later. It took 4 of them to get Vexnor on a hover stretcher. His jaw would need surgical reconstruction. 3 ribs were cracked. His breathing spiracle was damaged enough that he'd need a temporary implant. The head medic, a Korathi with excellent bedside manner, asked what happened. "He fell," Maya said, without looking up from her notes. "He fell," Professor Thelnak repeated, his voice hollow. "Fell really hard," I added. Because what else were we going to say? That a human girl from a death world had just given a practical demonstration in applied violence? That everything we thought we knew about Earth species was catastrophically wrong? The medics didn't buy it. You could tell. But they loaded Vexnor up and left, probably to file reports that would make their way up the chain to administration. Professor Thelnak tried to resume the lesson. He really did, but his hands shook when he manipulated the holo board, and he kept glancing at Maya like she might suddenly decide mathematics was also solved through physical confrontation. When the period ended, everyone filed out quickly. Nobody wanted to be near Maya. Nobody, except me, apparently, because my curiosity overrode my survival instincts. "Hey," I said, catching, up to her in the corridor. "That was, impressive?" Maya looked at me with brown eyes that seemed too calm for someone who'd just hospitalized a classmate. "He started it," Yeah, but, I mean, how did you? You're so. I gestured vaguely at her small frame. Small? I was going to say fragile. She laughed. Actually laughed. Everyone thinks that. You know what humans are actually good at? Endurance, adaptation, violence. She said that last word, casually, like she was listing ingredients for lunch. We're persistence predators. We evolved to chase prey until it died of exhaustion. Our bodies are designed to take damage and keep moving. You know what they call someone on Earth who can't handle a fight? What? Dead. She adjusted her bag. Look, Vexenor isn't a bad guy, probably. But he needed to learn that pushing people around has consequences. Now he knows. Tomorrow, if he's smart, he'll apologize, and we'll move on. And if he's not smart? Maya's smile didn't reach her eyes. Then he'll learn more lessons. Look, I don't want to be the scary human. I just want to attend classes, get my xenobiology degree, and go home. But I'm not going to be anyone's victim. Not here. Not anywhere. The news spread through Calroth Station Academy like a reactor leak. By lunch, everyone knew. The human girl, the soft-looking one from Earth, had put Vexenor in medical. By dinner, the story had grown. She'd used some kind of death-world martial arts. She'd moved so fast, the security cameras couldn't track her. She could apparently kill with her pinky finger if she wanted to. That last one was probably exaggerated. Relak was there, along with Jex, a crystalline-based life form who communicated through light pulses, and Mora, a Pelthian who'd been at the academy longer than anyone. 17.69 seconds, Jex pulsed, their light patterns creating words in the air. I reviewed the security footage. That's how long the entire incident lasted, from initial contact to Vexenor on the ground. You hacked the security feeds? Mora asked, her gill slits flaring with surprise. Public safety recordings are technically accessible under student right to information statutes. Jex's lights flickered in what I'd learned to recognize as smugness. The administration hasn't classified it yet. They're probably still trying to figure out how to file the incident report. Can we see it? I asked. Jex projected the footage into our table's holofield. We watched in silence as Maya, this small human with hair pulled back in a practical tail, systematically dismantled someone 3 times her size. Watching it at normal speed was shocking. Watching it slowed down was terrifying. Every move was precise, economical. No wasted motion. She wasn't fighting angry. She was fighting smart. Target the breathing spiracle to disrupt oxygen intake. Strike the jaw to damage sensory input and coordination. Use his momentum against him for the throw. It was textbook combat tactics applied with surgical precision. Where does someone learn to do that? Mora breathed. Earth, Jex pulsed. I did research after the incident. Human children start combat training as young as 5 solar cycles. They call it sports. Wrestling, boxing, martial arts. They practice violence for fun. That's horrifying, Relak said. That's survival, I corrected. You don't get to be the dominant species on a death world by being nice. You get there by being the scariest thing in your environment. The footage ended. We sat there, processing. So, what happens now? Mora asked. Does she get expelled? Arrested? For what? Jex's lights flickered. Vexenor initiated physical contact. Station law is clear on self-defense. She used appropriate force to neutralize a threat. Appropriate? She broke his face! Could have broken his neck, I said quietly. Everyone looked at me. That's what I'm saying. She could have. 1 strike to the right spot. Humans know anatomy. They're obsessed with it. And Vexenor would be dead. She held back. That was restraint. The table went quiet. Maya entered the cafeteria then, tray in hand, looking for a place to sit. Every table she approached suddenly became very interested in their food. Nobody made eye contact. She was socially radioactive now. The dangerous Death Worlder who'd proven all our fears correct. She ended up sitting alone at a corner table, eating something that looked disturbingly like it might have been alive recently. Humans were omnivores, could eat almost anything. I'd seen her consume substances that would put most species in medical. Someone should talk to her, Mora said. Why don't you? Raylock countered. I, have a study group. Right now? Yes. Right now. Immediately. They scattered. Cowards. But I couldn't blame them. Everything we'd been taught said humans were dangerous. Now we had proof. I picked up my tray and walked over to Maya's table. Her eyes tracked me the entire way, that predator focus humans had. She didn't say anything, just waited for me to speak. Mind if I sit? Free station, she said, which I took as permission. We ate in silence for a moment. Then, you're Chixtal, right? You sit behind me in gravitational mathematics. Yeah, good memory. I try to know who's around me. Situational awareness. Of course she did. Predator species always knew their surroundings. Look, Maya said, setting down her utensil. I know what everyone's thinking. The violent human proved she's violent. Now everyone's scared. Can you blame them? No, she admitted. But it's frustrating. I came here to learn, to build bridges between species. One idiot with an ego problem, and now I'm the station monster. You did break his jaw in about 10 seconds. Dislocated, not broken. And it was 17.69 seconds, apparently. She smiled slightly. Your friend Jack sent me the security footage. Wanted to make sure I knew exact timing from my records. Nice kid. Weird sense of humor. I had to laugh at that. So what now? Now, I finish my meal, go to my next class, and hope people realize I'm not going to randomly attack them. I'm not violent by nature, Chixtal, but I won't be pushed around either. There's a difference. Try telling that to Vex's Nor's face. I did tell him. He just didn't listen with his ears. Her expression turned serious. Look, humans have a saying. Walk softly and carry a big stick. I'd rather never fight again. But if someone forces the issue, I'll finish it. Every time. That's not a threat. It's just reality. We finished our meals. I walked with her to her next class, advanced chemistry, and noticed something interesting. People moved out of her way now, not running, just giving her space. Respectful distance. The kind you'd give any apex predator. Maya noticed too. I saw her jaw tighten, frustration flickering across her face. She'd wanted to fit in, to be accepted. Instead, she'd become exactly what she was trying not to be. The dangerous human, the Death Worlder, the thing everyone feared. And it had only taken 10 seconds to seal her fate. 3 days passed. Vex Nor came back to class with his jaw wired shut and a breathing assist collar around his neck. The first thing he did, and I swear I'm not making this up, was walk straight to Maya's desk and drop a formal apology crystal on her workspace. Maya stared at it, then at him, then back at the crystal. You're serious? Vex Nor nodded carefully, like his head might fall off if he moved too fast. His translator implant did the talking, since his jaw was immobilized. I dishonored myself. I dishonored you. I dishonored my clan. This is proper restitution under Cromleyan law. The entire class watched this exchange like it was a live holovid. Drama. Professor Thelnak had actually stopped pretending to organize his notes and was openly staring. Maya picked up the crystal. It was small, purple, cut in the traditional shame pattern. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. Keep it, destroy it, sell it. The choice is yours. The meaning remains. Vex Nor's translator carried no emotion, but his body language was pure submission. Head down, breathing spiracles retracted, hands open. I have contacted my clan elders. I have been formally reprimanded. I bring dishonor to our name by attacking someone weaker in physical appearance without cause. I'm not weaker, Maya said flatly. Clearly. If Vexnor's jaw had been working, I think he might have smiled. That was my first lesson. My second lesson is that strength comes in forms I did not anticipate. My third lesson, and this one hurt worse than my injuries, is that I am an idiot who believed propaganda over evidence. Maya set the crystal down carefully. Apology. Accepted. Don't do it again. I would rather fight a plasma storm naked than face you again, Maya Torres. This time, Maya did smile. Good. Now sit down before you fall down. You look terrible. Vexnor moved to a back row seat, moving like every step hurt. Probably because it did. Cromley's ribs healed slowly. Class resumed, but something had shifted. The fear that had surrounded Maya like a force field started developing cracks. If Vexnor, the station's unofficial enforcer, had publicly submitted to her, maybe she wasn't the mindless violence machine everyone assumed. Or maybe she was just really good at violence and smart enough to know when to stop. During lunch, my usual table was fuller than normal. Jex was there, lights pulsing excitedly. Mora had overcome her fear. Rilak sat nervously at the edge, and 3 new faces had joined. Kess, a Ythrian with feathers that changed colors with mood. Pol, a methane breather in an environment suit, and surprisingly, Vexnor himself. So, Kess said, feathers shifting to curious orange, we need to talk about the human situation. There's a situation? I asked. The administration is getting pressure from several species councils. The Cromleyan embassy is embarrassed that one of their enforcers got demolished by a species they classified as non-threatening. The Pelthian Medical Board wants to study Maya's bone density, and apparently 3 different military recruiters have contacted her. Maya, eating alone again 2 tables over, seemed oblivious to being the center of station politics. That's insane, Mora said. That's bureaucracy, Jex pulsed. I may have accessed some administrator communications, hypothetically, for research purposes. You're going to get expelled, I told them. Worth it. The data is fascinating. Did you know humans have a medical condition called hysterical strength? Under stress, their bodies can temporarily ignore safety limiters and generate forces up to 3 times their normal capacity. They can literally tear their own muscles for extra power. Everyone at the table looked physically ill at that description. Why would evolution allow that? Kess demanded, feathers going distressed gray. Because on Earth, survival sometimes means destroying yourself to save yourself, Vexnor's translator explained. I have spent the last 3 days researching human biology. It is a horror show. They have acid in their stomachs, strong enough to dissolve metal. They can survive with half their blood gone. Their immune systems weaponize fever to cook invaders alive. They are, biologically speaking, unkillable nightmares designed by a sadistic universe. And yet Maya seems nice, Mora offered weakly. She is nice, I said. That's what makes this weird. She's polite, studies hard, helps people with homework. She's just also capable of extreme violence when pushed. Like everyone from Earth, Vexnor added. I read their history files. They have been in continuous warfare for their entire recorded civilization. Thousands of years of killing each other, developing new ways to kill each other, getting better at killing each other. They split the atom, not for power generation, but to make bombs. They went to space, not for exploration, but to potentially fight there. Everything they do has a dual purpose, creation and destruction. Pol's environment suit speakers crackled. So, why let them into the galactic community? Why invite that chaos? Because they also create beautiful art, groundbreaking science, and genuinely want peace. Jex pulsed. Humans are contradictions. They'll kill you or save you with equal passion. The same species that invented weapons of planetary destruction also sends aid to disaster zones, regardless of profit. They're capable of tremendous cruelty and tremendous kindness, often simultaneously. I watched Maya finish her lunch, clean up her area meticulously, and head toward the exit. On impulse, I called out, "Maya, over here!" She stopped, looked at our suddenly crowded table, and her expression cycled through surprise, suspicion, and cautious hope. She walked over slowly. "You have a full table now," she observed. "We have room," I said, gesturing to an empty spot. "If you want it." Maya looked at each of us. Her eyes lingered on Vex Snore. "You sure about this? I'm still the scary Death Worlder." "You are also," Vex Snore's translator said carefully, "the person who showed restraint when you could have killed me. The person who accepted my apology with grace. The person who told me to sit down before I fell down because I looked terrible, which, for the record, I did. You are more than your capacity for violence." Maya sat down. Just like that, the social isolation broke. "So," Kess said, feathers brightening to friendly yellow, "want to explain how you did that spinning throw thing? Because physics says it shouldn't work." Maya grinned. "It's called judo. You use momentum and leverage instead of strength. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Want me to teach you?" The table erupted in excited conversation. Jex wanted to analyze the biomechanics. Mora wanted to know if it worked on different body types. Even Pol was curious if the techniques translated to different gravity environments. I sat back and watched Maya, the dangerous human from Earth, laugh and gesture as she explained concepts like center of gravity and force distribution. She wasn't scary in this moment. She was just a student, sharing knowledge, making friends. Later that week, something unexpected happened. Maya started an informal self-defense class in one of the empty cargo bays. 20 students showed up the first day, 50 by the end of the week. Within a month, there was a waiting list. She taught everyone differently, adapting techniques to various body types, limb configurations, environmental needs. Jex learned to use their crystalline structure for strikes. Kess discovered their wing strength could generate impressive throws. Even Pol figured out grappling techniques that worked in an environment suit. And Vex Nor? He became her assistant instructor. Turns out, getting thoroughly beaten gave him a new perspective on combat. He was genuinely good at helping others understand defensive positioning. Professor Thelnak attended one session, just to observe for safety reasons. He ended up joining as a regular student. Watching a 6-armed Plenthian attempt a hip throw was comedy gold, but he got better. The administration tried to shut it down initially. Too dangerous, they said. Inappropriate, they claimed. Then someone pointed out that station security response times averaged 12 minutes, and a lot of bad things could happen in 12 minutes. Self-defense training was actually logical. They made it an official extracurricular activity. Maya became a registered instructor. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The human everyone feared for her violence was now teaching everyone how to protect themselves. 6 months after the incident, I was sitting in that same gravitational mathematics class when a new student transferred in. Big guy, built like a cargo hauler, species I didn't recognize immediately. He swaggered to the front row and told the student sitting there, a small Zenthari named Pix, to move. Everyone in class tensed. Here we go again. But before anything could escalate, Vex Nor stood up. So did Kess, and about 15 other students who'd been in Maya's classes. "That seat is occupied," Vex Nor said calmly. "Find another." The new student looked around at the suddenly unified class. "You're all going to defend this little blob? What are you? Their personal guard? We are students who understand that physical intimidation is the strategy of the weak-minded," Vex Nor replied. "We are individuals who have learned that size means nothing against technique. We are people who will not tolerate bullying. Your choice now is simple. Find another seat, peacefully, or learn these lessons the way I did." The new student looked at Vexa's Nor's still healing facial scars, at the united front of the class, at Maya sitting quietly in the back with that same too calm expression she'd had before. He found another seat, no violence needed, no dramatic confrontation. Just the clear understanding that things had changed at Calroth Station Academy. After class, I caught up with Maya in the corridor. "You created something here. You know that, right?" "I created a mess," she said, but she was smiling. "I just wanted to attend school." "You did more than that. You changed how people think about strength, about standing up for each other." Maya shrugged. That casual human gesture that somehow conveyed entire philosophies. Maybe. Or maybe everyone just needed permission to stop being afraid. Humans aren't special, Chixtao. We're just survivors who learned that working together beats fighting alone. Every species can learn that. We just had a rougher classroom. Earth, you mean? We're violent because we're passionate. We're dangerous because we care enough to defend what matters. We walked in comfortable silence for a moment. Then, "Hey, you going to the cultural festival next month?" "Thinking about it." "Why?" "Human delegation is coming. Real ones, from Earth. Diplomats, scientists, even some military observers. They want to see how integration is going." Maya's expression went complicated. "Great. So, they can see that the human student hospitalized someone her first week and became the station's violence instructor. That'll look good in the reports. You also have the highest grades in 3 subjects, volunteer at the medical center, and started a program that's reduced station bullying by 70%, according to administration statistics. Jex hacked those too. Jex needs to stop hacking things. Jex needs a hobby that isn't information crimes, but that's a different issue." I bumped her shoulder gently, the way humans did with friends. "You're doing fine. Better than fine. You're proving that humans can integrate, can contribute, can be trusted. By teaching everyone how to fight. By teaching everyone how to defend themselves. There's a difference." Maya smiled. "A real one this time. You sound like me now. I learned from the best." The cultural festival arrived, with all the chaos expected, when you gather 200 different species in one space. The human delegation was impressive. 12 individuals representing Earth's various continental governments, each one carefully selected to demonstrate humanity's diversity. There was Ambassador Kenji Tanaka, calm and diplomatic. Dr. Amara Okonkwo, xenobiologist and first contact specialist. Commander James Murphy, military liaison and apparent walking recruitment poster. And 9 others, each brilliant in their DR fields. They spent the first day in meetings with station administration. By day 2, they were touring facilities and meeting students. By day 3, they'd heard about Maya. I was with her when Commander Murphy found us in the recreation sector. He was tall, built like gravity was a suggestion, with gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. "Cadet Torres," he said, and Maya went stiff. "I'm not a cadet, sir. I'm a civilian student." "Your father is Colonel Torres, Terran Defense Force, stationed at Luna Base. Your mother is Dr. Sarah Torres, Xenomedicine Research, Mars Colony. You grew up on military installations. You have hand-to-hand combat training from age 6. Murphy's smile was sharp. "You're absolutely a cadet. You just haven't signed the papers yet. I'm not interested in military service." "Noted. But I am interested in what you've accomplished here." Murphy gestured around. "In 6 months, you've done more for human integration than a year of diplomatic efforts." Students, who were terrified of humans, now train with one. "You've proven we're not mindless brutes." "I proved I could break someone's face in under 20 seconds. Not sure that's the win you think it is." Murphy laughed, genuinely amused. "You proved humans will defend themselves proportionally and stop when the threat ends. You could have killed that Cromleyan kid. You didn't. That's the whole point. We're dangerous when we need to be, civilized when we can be. Maya looked uncomfortable with the attention. I just want to finish school. And you will. But understand something, Torres. Every human out here is an ambassador, whether they want to be or not. You handled your situation well. Others might not. We need people like you showing the galaxy who we really are. Who are we, really? Maya asked quietly. Murphy's expression went serious. Survivors who learned cooperation. Warriors who choose peace. Monsters who decided to be better. We're the species that looked at a universe full of wonders and said, yes, we want to be part of that. Flaws and all. He left after that, heading to another meeting. Maya stood there processing his words. Heavy, I offered. Yeah. We watched the festival activities for a while. A Ythrian dance performance. A Pelthian poetry reading. A Zenthari musical demonstration that was actually just controlled bioluminescence, but beautiful anyway. Then, the human delegation took the stage for their presentation. They'd prepared a multimedia exhibition about Earth. Not the sanitized version from textbooks. The real version. They showed hurricanes and earthquakes. They didn't hide humanity's violent nature, but they also showed art and music, scientific achievements, acts of incredible compassion, rescue workers running into burning buildings, doctors treating patients in disaster zones, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. The final image was of Earth itself, that blue-green marble floating in space. Fragile and beautiful, and absolutely deadly. Ambassador Tanaka stepped forward. This is our world. This is what made us. We do not apologize for being survivors. We do not apologize for our capacity to defend ourselves. But we promise to use our strength wisely, our knowledge generously, and our passion for the benefit of all species. We are human. We are here. And we hope you'll give us a chance to prove we're worth knowing. The auditorium was silent. Then, slowly, applause started. Species that had feared humans were clapping for them. Maya had tears on her face. Happy ones, I think. We're going to be okay, she whispered. Humans in space. We're actually going to make this work. You already are, I told her. The festival continued late into the station's night cycle. I found Maya one last time, sitting in an observation lounge watching the stars drift by beyond the reinforced glass. Thinking deep thoughts? She laughed. Thinking I came here expecting to be rejected and feared. Instead, I made friends, started a program, and apparently became a poster child for human integration. Life's weird. Life's what you make it. Philosopher Chixtao speaks wisdom. We sat together in comfortable silence, two beings from wildly different worlds who'd somehow become friends. Maya was still the girl who'd destroyed Vex Nor in 17.69 seconds. But she was also the student who helped me understand gravitational formulas. The instructor who taught self-defense with patience and humor. The friend who'd proven that humans were so much more than their capacity for violence. 10 seconds had changed everything that day in class. But the months that followed had changed even more. The galaxy was learning what humans really were. And humanity was learning how to be part of something bigger than themselves. It wasn't perfect. There would be more incidents, more misunderstandings, more growing pains. But watching Maya smile at the stars, I knew we'd figure it out. One day, one lesson, one friendship at a time. Because that's what survivors do. They adapt. They grow. They make the impossible work through sheer stubborn determination. Very human qualities, when you think about it. And the galaxy was richer for it.